This is CBC Here and Now.
The West White Rose Extension Project. Expect to hear those words a lot in the coming months, and things may just get a little tangly. I'm Terry Roberts, and I'll have that story coming up.
Also in the news tonight, wrecked woods. Partygoers in Torbay leave a massive mess behind.
A woman in Central took in a moose calf in distress. The SPCA had to euthanize it. An experienced hunter weighs in.
You think wholeheartedly in your mind that it's a very good deed that you're doing, but it does have dire consequences.
Well, literally a little taste of everything this weekend. We've got snow on the menu. We also have warm temps into the teens and some sunshine. We'll let you know where it'll shine coming up.
Our top story tonight, the next big offshore development, the West White Rose Extension Project. It doesn't have the official go-ahead yet, but there is growing tension over the proposed new wellhead platform.
Yes, and there are two main concerns: whether most of that work will be done outside this province and the signs of trouble with labor talks.
Here Now's Terry Roberts has been following the story. He joins us live from the St. John's waterfront. So Terry, what is the latest?
Well, Debbie, we all know that the spotlight has been squarely on the Hebron project for many years now, really. But it's done, construction is completed, and it's going to be towed out of Trinity Bay any day now. Well, now the attention is starting to turn to what might be the next major project, the West White Rose Extension. There's a lot on the line here, billions in spending and hundreds of good-paying jobs. But at today's oil prices, the project is marginal at best. And Husky Energy has been reviewing the economics of it for the last 3 years, trying to make it work. I'm being told the company is being very thrifty and is even putting pressure on the provincial government, perhaps looking for concessions in the form of fewer construction jobs, maybe even lower royalties. I put that question to this province's Natural Resources Minister this week. Her answer was vague.
Certainly have discussions with them in terms of how best to make sure this project gets sanctioned. We want to make sure of that, but we will want to make sure to maximize the opportunity for this province in terms of the number of people employed, in terms of the benefits to this province.
Now, Husky has said it will make a decision on final approval for the West White Rose project sometime this year. But we all know things have been happening behind the scenes, and they all point to sanctioning for the West White Rose project. People are being hired, contracts are being awarded. It looks like the concrete gravity structure, similar to Hebron and Hibernia, will be built in Argentia. But it's not all positive for this province's construction industry. A fabrication yard in Texas could soon get very busy.
Right now, and this is not official, we only get rumors at this point that the complete topsides, except for the accommodations module, is going to be built down in the Gulf Coast by Kiewit. That don't put my members to work, and I need my members to work. And like I say, we have guys that are ready now to go to work, that are fresh off a great experience from the Hebron project and also in Long Harbour. So we got guys that are job ready. Let's put them to work.
Now, we all know that's not surprising. In past projects, Hebron and Hibernia, we know those topsides, the bulk of those topsides were constructed overseas. Now, meanwhile, Myers, he's furious. He's furious that his union, the Pipefitters Union, has not been invited to the bargaining table for a labor agreement with Husky and their partners. Now, as you might expect in these situations, the company is not talking. Now, typically in a situation like this, the provincial government sanctions what's called a special project order. Now, that's a labor agreement that prevents any work stoppages such as strikes or lockouts. Now, I spoke to the Department of Labor today, and they say Husky and its partners have not so far requested a special project order. Debbie?
Thanks very much. That's our Terry Roberts reporting for us live this evening. Now to Torbay, where someone had a huge party over the May 2-4 weekend and left a field full of garbage behind. A mess that's still there almost a week later. Here Now's Martin Jones has the story.
Well, this is where it all went down. I'm at Goss's Meadow in Great Pond here in Torbay. It was the site of what looked like an amazing May 24th weekend party. Unfortunately, the partygoers forgot to clean up before they left. I've already counted about 12 couches out here. There's 2 huge fire pits just behind me, tons of garbage thrown everywhere. Before we arrived, there was a makeshift shelter just to my left. Inside that, something a bit more disturbing than what you'd normally find at a party. We saw a homophobic slur spray painted on the wall and a pellet rifle with a full case of pellet shells. Now, that makes this area not just an eyesore, but also a safety concern. And it's not the first time it's happened here at this location. Last May 24th weekend, it happened again. I spoke with Torbay Mayor Ralph Tapper about it and asked who's going to clean this all up.
We got to nip this in the bud. It might happen again next year, and this property owner is going to be left with the bill, but he can't afford it. We got to bring in front end loaders to get this heavy furniture out of here in our trucks. So we're going to help out.
So who planned this party? We don't know for sure. We did find a few things around that maybe were clues, including a textbook with a school name inside, though I'm fairly certain there was no studying happening here last May 24th weekend. Mayor Tapper says it's going to start next week for the cleanup. It could take about a day or two. 4 town employees will be involved, and it could cost the town close to $4,000 to do it. Reporting for Here and Now, I'm Martin Jones.
Indigenous leaders from across the province came together today for the first ever round table forum. One of the topics of discussion was the call for the return of Beothuk remains. And Here and Now's Peter Cowan joins us now live. So Peter, what are they asking for here?
Well, Carolyn, right now the remains of 2 Beothuk sit in a museum in Scotland. And the letter signed today by all of the Aboriginal leaders is one of the key things that's needed in order to convince the museum to return them. Now, the museum returned down a request from Chief Measle Joe and also turned down one from the Premier. Only the federal government can officially ask for these remains back. The museum also wants the request to come from the descendants, but since the Beothuk were wiped out, the best that we can do is have all the Indigenous groups make that request together. Now, even that won't guarantee the museum says yes, but for the man who started this quest, today's agreement is a big step.
The Royal Museum in Scotland sort of looked at me as one lonely Indian showing up want the remains brought back that he had no claim to. But I keep telling people that the claim I'm making is not an Aboriginal claim, it's a claim for Newfoundland. Those remains belong to Newfoundland. They were stolen from Newfoundland. They belong to us. They should be brought back.
Okay, so Peter, what else came out of this roundtable discussion today?
Well, Carolyn, one of the other big topics was the inquiry that started into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. It's being done by the federal government, but the question is whether the inquiry will come to this province and listen to the families who've lost loved ones here.
We're very concerned about the families. Of course, they're the most important ones here in this commission. So we want to make sure that their stories are heard, that they're respected, and that the necessary steps are taken to help them once they tell their stories.
Now, all the Indigenous leaders today echoed those concerns, and that's why they all signed a letter to both the inquiry and the federal government. Carolyn?
Thanks very much, Peter. Now to the latest on the flooding in Mud Lake, Labrador that damaged homes and property. Many residents believe the development of Muskrat Falls is to blame, something Nalcor has strongly denied. As Here and Now's Jacob Barker reports, tonight the corporation is softening its response.
Nalcor was adamant during the Mud Lake floods that nothing it was doing at the Muskrat Falls site was affecting the way that water was flowing down the river. Now one of its senior-most people is acknowledging that response was a mistake.
I believe initially we responded honestly, but probably not in the best way. It was dismissive. It was, don't look here. That was not productive, I don't believe, at all. We effectively had the opposite effect. It raised suspicion.
The change of tone comes after Keating was in Labrador this week and met with residents.
I committed to working with anyone that they would choose or select as an advocate to work on their behalf to make sure that the current concerns of the event were duly considered.
Robert Way watched the river closely during the flood, as well as Nalcor's reaction.
A few hours before the largest pulse of this flood, there were representatives from Nalcor on social media saying everything is normal.
He says the company can't dismiss the suggestion that hydro dams inherently change the flow of rivers.
Essentially, you get less of a peak spring runoff normally, and you get a greater flow during the winter. So the question is, on a river that is widely used by people, that the only access back and forth to one community is through the river, how does increasing the flow in the winter and reducing in the spring impact the ice during the winter?
That's a question that needs to be answered for the community. Back in November, when it was below freezing, Nalcor released about 8 meters of water from its dam to perform some repairs.
There is concern, there's been concern locally, that by increasing the flow so much right when it was all freezing up, that you had areas where water came out onto the ice and refroze. You had potentially compaction of the ice was compacting more, and perhaps that those types of factors made it thicker. And certainly people going across noticed that the ice was thicker this year than normal.
Way says thicker ice may have worsened that ice jam at the mouth of the river. He says that the more cooperative tone that Nalcor has been taking is a positive thing, and that he hopes that it leads to a better ice monitoring system in the future. He says at this point he can't definitively place blame on the dam, but he says an independent investigation will hopefully give some answers to the people of Mud Lake. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
And just one more note to add to Jacob's story. As you heard him talk about, Premier Dwight Ball has promised to find out the cause of the flooding. He says a committee will be put together to review what happened, and the committee will include people who are independent of Nalcor.
Well, one of the people who works for the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary has been charged with snooping in personal information files. The charge follows an investigation prompted by a complaint from the public. The woman charged is a civilian employee of the police force. She faces 3 counts under the Access to Information and Privacy Act. She has been suspended with pay. The breaches are alleged to have happened in September and early October of last year.
Never mind what's wrong. You did what you did, now the damage is done.
Well, some familiar faces will rock the George Street Festival this summer, including these guys. Blue Rodeo, Hey Rosetta, and Shani Ganuk are among the featured artists performing at the week-long festival. It runs from July 27th to August 2nd in St. John's. Other performers include the Sam Roberts Band, Matt Mays, and Street Heart.
After the break, we'll explain how a local church is using new technology to map an old landmark.
Later, I'm going to have the word on what kind of a hurricane season is expected and what that means for us here in this province.
weather update is brought to you by the Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Over 400 businesses have saved energy and taken charge of their bottom line. Find out how you can too.
All right.
Friday.
Well, that's right. Friday, the weekend. And yes, remember the piebald moose that I showed you?
Yeah.
Was that last week, I believe?
Yeah,
And a photographer from the West Coast got a chance, of course, to film rare up-close video of this white moose, known as a piebald because of its pattern of the pigmented spots.
Well, it seems there are at least 2 of these animals in that area. Chris Oliver was traveling on the road and came across the bull, and then a few miles down the road, he spotted a piebald calf.
That's right.
Yes, it must be a dad and son bonding time, I guess.
Absolutely.
So Mama
so
doesn't
neat.
necessarily have to look like that.
I
She
don't
could be
think
a brown
so. Yeah,
moose.
and if you notice, the calf does look like it's a little bit, it has a little more brown in the mix there than the bull does. So quite interesting, though, that that gene obviously carries over. The fact that they were spotted a mile apart down the road, obviously some relation there.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Very rare.
pretty cool stuff. And that, of course, in Black Duck Siding, which is just up the road from Stephenville. Hopefully I said that right. Okay. Forecast time, Stephenville, Corner Brook, Port-au-Port, even the Badger region. Have a look at some of these highs today. Beautiful. 20 in Badger,
lovely.
21 in Deer Lake, 19 in Corner Brook, in St. John's. Yeah, it was once again, and you know what? 8 is actually pretty nice compared to what we're looking at for tomorrow.
How sad.
Yeah, I know. Tomorrow really does not look great. 3 degrees for a high for St. John's tomorrow, though we should be back to around 7 or 8 on Sunday. Looking at 9 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, 22 in Lab West. Definitely any of the snow that's left on the ground there is melting away in a hurry with temps like that. Now look at the rain that is starting to pull up towards southern parts of Newfoundland as we speak. As we back things out, this has been a system that's rolling up the eastern seaboard over the last day or so. Maritimes has been wet, pretty steady band of rain starting to work its way into the Port aux Basques, Burgeo, Francois, southwest coast region. Over the next few hours, that rain will pick up in intensity. The Burin into a few showers, as is the Southern Avalon just about to get into it. St. John's and the northern parts of the Avalon going to be getting into some of those showers. Looks like after 9 p.m. That area of high pressure really going to slow down the progression, the northward progression of this rain, though. We will see some showers sneaking in for the overnight, and those showers will be on the menu for tomorrow morning. St. John's to the Burin. Slight chance of some showers or drizzle up towards Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor. I think we're dry for Corner Brook and the Straits up towards the St. Anthony region, and a bit of a messy mix to start the day tomorrow from Happy Valley Goose Bay over towards Labrador City. Note, things will dry out across central parts of Newfoundland, though I think lingering drizzle along the northeast coast into even the early afternoon. Brightening skies for mid to late afternoon, except for the Avalon and the Bonavista Peninsula, where the cloud cover remains dominant. Beautiful day up the west coast. A bit of a messy mix starting to roll down into southeastern Labrador. Happy Valley Goose Bay and Labrador City, again, under this frontal boundary, so I'm really not going to get much in the way of sunshine there. Yeah, there's really no way to sugarcoat it. 1 to 3 degrees all along that northeast coast tomorrow, from St. Anthony to St. John's, including the Bayvert Peninsula, though Bayvert and towards the Bay of Exploits will see some brightening into the afternoon. Bonavista, as I mentioned, St. John's, Clarenville, Placentia, I think we're mainly cloud cover capped through from start to finish. The Burin Peninsula may see a few late day sun breaks. Harbor Breton for sure will. Burgeo, Port aux Basques up towards Stephenville, Corner Brook, as I mentioned. Dynamite forecast, 15 to 16 degrees for tomorrow. The Humber Valley should even get to 12. I think Grand Falls, Windsor, 8 to 9 degrees. Looking at a beautiful day, Nain down through Hopedale. Makovic should see some brightening into the afternoon. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Churchill Falls, and Labrador City, though, will remain cloud cover dominant with that shower and flurry risk. Note this frontal boundary. There's been some timing issues with this, but it looks like now it will approach the island on Sunday, but I think St. John's for sure is dry. Central now looks dry for Sunday. I think that rain holds off until the evening hours. Corner Brook and the West get into the mix for Sunday afternoon. We'll break down Sunday details in full detail and a look at your long range in just a few minutes. Debbie?
Thanks very much, Ryan. Well, fishermen along the northeast coast of Newfoundland are being told to keep their boats tied up. Heavy ice is jammed into the bays from the northern peninsula down to Bonavista Bay. The Coast Guard says it has been a busy year assisting stranded vessels, but last weekend's storm has made a bad situation worse. Here now, Cease Hare reports.
This was the scene Wednesday off Lumsden. 5 boats stuck in ice only a short distance from shore. They ran into trouble early that morning and didn't get out of their predicament until 3:30 the next morning. The Coast Guard knows too well how bad the ice has become.
The ice we have now is over a meter thick on the northeast coast. It is, the sort of the Arctic ice equivalent coming down, and where it's been crushed up by that storm, there's a lot of heavy packed ice underneath as well. So there's a lot of dangerous pieces that you won't even be able to see because it's covered with this crushed ice, as well as the snow that fell over the long weekend. So it's very dangerous conditions right now.
The low from the weekend storm pushed the ice in, and it's everywhere. It's also hard to get through due to the pressure from the onshore winds.
Looking at ice that might have been 40 miles long last week or 2 weeks ago, it's probably only 10 miles this time, but it's more dangerous ice for that short term. So it's definitely not something that an icebreaker might not even be able to assist you through. It's just something you're going to probably end up stuck in and waiting for a few days.
Hodgson says the best advice is don't go out, adding if you're in port, that's the safest place to be. There's ice in the Strait of Belle Isle too, as this NASA image from the MODIS satellite shows. But Hodgson says the northeast coast is the most dangerous zone right now. It's been an unusually busy year for the Coast Guard. So far this year, assisting 29 vessels. Last year, only 3 needed help. It's so busy, in fact, they're planning to bring in an extra icebreaker from the Quebec region. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, holy high tech. The Basilica Heritage Foundation is using 21st century technology to map every millimeter of the city's most famous 19th century structure. Here now's Mark Quinn reports.
Here's something that has never happened before. A drone is flying inside the Basilica of St. John the Baptist. It's photographing every millimeter of the building's historic interior. It does look a bit sinister, but the Heritage Foundation's Pat Thompson says it's here for a good reason.
This project is something we've been envisaging for a number of years, is trying to be able to get a snapshot in time of what's happening here at the Basilica.
3D imaging lasers and this drone are capturing completely new perspectives inside and outside of a building that's dominated St. John's skyline for more than 160 years.
You can gain a huge amount of data that you wouldn't ever dream of being able to do if you were to do it by a measuring tape in the old-fashioned way.
No bucket trucks and no scaffolding. With lasers and drones, the foundation will soon have photos and drawings for its archives of all of the church's buildings in this area, including the Presentation Sisters Convent. The Basilica Foundation says the $200,000 project will give it information about precisely what needs to be fixed, like all these windows.
Currently, that's a big challenge for us because the windows are very old. So we're using the drone and the laser scanning to be able to assess the condition. And that's a very significant piece of dealing with architectural old buildings.
Back inside, the work is, well, droning on. Once the photography is done, it will take several months to process. This work will produce drawings for engineers and architects, and the Basilica Foundation says it will use some of the images to create virtual online tours. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
A Newfoundland woman is brokenhearted after the SPCA decided to euthanize a days-old moose calf she was caring for. After the break, we ask the question, should people step in to care for wildlife? Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, before we get to our next story, just one note about the RNC story we reported on earlier. It involved the female employee who was charged with looking at private files. Now, we said she was suspended with pay, but that was incorrect. She's suspended without pay. Well, now to this story. A woman in central Newfoundland who bottle-fed a days-old moose calf she found in distress is heartbroken that the SPCA euthanized the animal. Brandy Calder says her husband came across the calf as it was trying to cross a brook and saved it from drowning. The moose seemed exhausted, and Calder didn't think it would last the night, so they took it home and nursed it with goat's milk. The next day, she contacted the Gander SPCA and staff picked up the animal. Now, a few hours later, Calder found out the Salmonier Nature Park couldn't take the animal, so the SPCA had it euthanized. Calder told the Central Morning Show that she was devastated by the news.
I was angry. I was upset. I cried. And I told her if I hadn't known that this would have happened, you wouldn't have got her. And she said, well, you're not allowed to keep her. I said, I don't care. It's a life. Euthanization is supposed to be the last resort, but it's not. It's the first option.
Well, the Department of Fisheries and Land Resources put out a statement today saying that it's not only illegal to take wildlife out of its environment, it's also dangerous for both people and the animal. This afternoon, I spoke with an experienced hunter, Dwight Blackwood of Newfoundland Sportsman magazine. As someone who spends a lot of time in the outdoors among wildlife, I'm just curious, what do you think of when you see pictures like this one of this woman with a moose calf?
It's a very nice, cute animal. Unfortunately, it's only a matter of days old, and you take a young animal like that out of its environment, particularly away from its mother, devastating consequences can be had as a result of it.
What kind of consequences?
Well, there's probably a couple in this particular situation now. The couple, even though they did a very good deed, probably saving the moose's life when it crossed the brook, by taking it away from its mother, the consequences that could arise would be, even if they could get it back in the woods, the mother may reject it. That's a possibility. Not probable, but a possibility. And unfortunately, in this situation now, there was no other alternative for the SPCA or anybody else to find alternate accommodations for the moose, and look what happened, and it had to be euthanized. Well, from a safety standpoint, the mother moose, the cow, they can become very, very aggressive. If you take a little calf away from its mother and it happens to see you, there have been quite a few people, particularly up in Alaska, that have been killed by moose who did very such things.
And just because you can't see the moose around doesn't mean that it's not there.
No, definitely not. A moose has two very acute senses. One is hearing and one is smell. Now, even though the mother moose wasn't there, she probably was well aware where her calf had been, and then, of course, it was taken out of its environment, and, it's very bad consequences.
And I guess there is no way of really knowing that the mother moose was still alive.
No, definitely not. Not for those individuals. In all probability it was, because the calf was very young.
There's a lot of emotion wrapped up in stories like these. How do you separate the emotional aspect of this, of seeing an animal in distress, and the idea of just letting nature take care of itself?
Well, nature, there's an awful lot about nature that we are not aware of. We just don't know how the interaction is between mothers and between calves and of all various species. And when you get to the point of trying to do a good deed, you think wholeheartedly in your mind that it's a very good deed that you're doing. You're protecting this young little animal, which is only days old, but it does have dire consequences.
What should someone do if they come across an animal in distress in the woods?
Well, more often than not, just leave it alone. It's in its environment. It does have, in this case, a mother moose to look after it.
And I guess a lot of people don't realize that you're actually not allowed to take wildlife out of the environment like that.
No, I'm pretty sure it's against the Department of Wildlife's Act that you have to not harass the animals for sure and leave them in their own environment. it's probably illegal to have done such a thing, but certainly everybody has a kind, soft heart for little small critters, and I'm sure this was what was happening in this particular case.
Well, we're not done with moose yet. Coming up, we'll tell you why some people, including Dwight Blackwood, believe the moose population in this province is in danger of dwindling and what they want done to stop it. Welcome back. A group of hunters is concerned that the moose hunt in this province is not sustainable. Dwight Blackwood says members of the Association of Hunters and Anglers believe the moose population is in severe decline, although they don't have the science to back that up. And now they're calling on government to reduce the number of moose licenses. Here's more of what Blackwood had to say.
We conducted a very informal survey amongst our members, asking them where they hunted last year, how many moose they saw, how many calves they saw, and what they perceived that particular area to be from previous years. And almost without exception, the answers that came back said the moose population's in severe decline. They're seeing very, very few calves, which indicates that there's something going on with the population. And as a consequence of that, we estimate that the numbers are probably half or slightly above half of what the provincial government says.
So why do you think the numbers are dwindling like that?
Biggest culprit, I would estimate, or I would guess, would be the number of licenses that are given out each year. For example, the government indicated there are about 110,000 animals on this island. If you take out 32,000 licenses with a 63% success rate, I believe, you're looking at almost 20,000 animals that's being taken out of that population. It's just too many licenses. We now have wolves here in the province. We have coyotes here as another predator, which are taking moose calves for sure. And of course, you've got black bears. The numbers of black bears have increased dramatically over the last decade or so, and they're the biggest predator of all for the moose population.
Is there enough science being done on this?
No, virtually none.
You hear sometimes talk of the need for a moose cull. There are so many accidents, moose vehicle accidents that happen on the highway. So why would a severe decline of the moose population be a bad thing?
Well, the moose were introduced here at the turn of the century, and as a consequence, many families have depended on the moose for sustenance, for food. Secondary to that, it's a big economic generator. You know, you've got a lot of smaller communities in rural Newfoundland that have quite a number of people employed by the various outfitters. And me personally, and many other people that I know, you know, we love moose hunting now. We love it for the meat, and we also love it for the sport. And it'll be very sad to see the moose go the way of the caribou in Labrador, for sure.
What do you think should be done to increase the moose population in the province?
Well, I think they definitely, you know, rather sooner than later, definitely had to cut out a substantial number of licenses that they award now.
It's very unusual to hear of a hunter calling for a reduction in the number of hunting licenses.
No, not really. I mean, in all activities, you know, whether it's moose hunting, caribou hunting, bear hunting, or any other type of hunting activity, hunters are the biggest conservationists of all. We're the ones that contribute to organizations like Ducks Unlimited for more marshland area. We're the ones that are concerned about a sustainable population or a species for hunting. So hunters are really good for the game that they hunt.
The weather update is brought to you by Belltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
All right, so if you're planning any outdoor activities this weekend, I guess Sunday is the day.
Here in the east.
In the east.
In the west, Saturday's the day. In Labrador, Sunday's the day. Really, it is. We've got two systems at play. One coming from the northwest, another one coming from the south, and we've got this little area of high pressure in between. And of course, in the long range, we're going to talk about hurricanes in a second too, because the National Hurricane Center has released their forecast. So we're going to talk about that. But first, yes, let's have a look at that weekend. There are your highs today: 8 degrees in St. John's, 19 in Corner Brook, 22 in Happy Valley, in Labrador City, that is, which, as you can see, is one of the hottest places on the entire board there. And again, we have this rain pulling into southern parts of Newfoundland as we speak. That will pull into Metro mid to late this evening. And it is going to be hanging out right through the day on Saturday with showers, drizzle. We'll see some fog patches in the mix. Northeast winds keeping temperatures very chilly. This system, though, will generally move to the south as this area of high pressure will be kind of holding on here, a little ridge. And we also have this frontal boundary rolling into Labrador. So as I mentioned, two systems. This one is a little weaker and a little slower moving, whereas the low from the south will be departing through the day on Saturday. There you go by Saturday afternoon. Most of the island, most of eastern Newfoundland has cleared, though the Avalon will stay lingered with clouds, drizzle, and some fog patches. Looking at that afternoon sun breaking in over central Newfoundland, 15 in Corner Brook. The west coast is the best coast. Once again for tomorrow, 3 in Nain with some sunshine breaking in. But again, that shower and flurry activity. And yes, from Happy Valley Goose Bay across to Cartwright and even back across to Churchill Falls, we are looking at the possibility here, especially in the higher elevations, of 5 to as much as 10 centimeters of snow when we add up tonight, tomorrow, and into Saturday night. So keep that in mind. Now, as we roll into Saturday afternoon and Saturday night, there's that frontal boundary. Again, there's been some differing forecast model ideas on the timing of this, but it does appear it will hold off until Sunday afternoon for Corner Brook and the west coast. Some messy mixing continuing over the northern peninsula. Things clear out for you folks in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Perhaps a lingering shower or flurry in the southeast, but I think we're staying dry in central for Sunday afternoon and dry, especially here in the east, with that rain arriving in central, I think, for Sunday evening. So it's just some building clouds across most of the island. Those showers into Corner Brook for the afternoon. Hopefully getting Sunday morning staying dry, 8 or 9 degrees. Should get to around 12 for inland areas of central, near 7 in St. John's, 10 in Happy Valley Goose Bay with a risk of an early morning flurry, getting back to 11 degrees in Labrador City. Now, the outlook for Monday, you'll note the wind contours here. Again, still in from the northeast. That is not good news for St. John's, where temperatures, likely near 5 or 6 on Monday with showers and drizzle. Showers in central as well. Clearing in the west and a nice ridge here building in for you folks in Labrador, and that will then push into the Newfoundland as we roll into the Tuesday time period. So this is where we're talking about highs back in the 12 to 17 degree range, 10 to 15 for you folks in Labrador with showers rolling into the west. And you can see where we're hanging on to at least some double digits and teens for all of next week, from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday, which is some good news there. Even a southwest wind possible for Friday. We'll hold on to hope for that. And there's your forecast in Labrador, which again, looking mild but a little unsettled into mid to late next week. Well, with snow still on the ground across parts of the province, it may seem a bit early to start talking about tropical storms and hurricanes, but the fact is, hurricane season officially kicks off in less than a week. As a result, the National Hurricane Center has released its prediction for the upcoming season, and it's leaning towards an above-average season. Now, when you break down the numbers, the NHC is giving this season, which runs from June 1st to November 30th, a 45% chance of being above average. That would be 11 to 17 named storms. Of those, they're thinking 5 to 9 become hurricanes, and of those, 2 to 4 major hurricanes, Category 3 or stronger. Now, the main factors pointing towards a more active hurricane season is the weak to non-existent El Nino, which should keep wind shear to near or below average conditions across the Caribbean, and also the near to above average sea surface temperatures, especially across the tropical Atlantic. Now, the NHC notes there is still some uncertainty with the overall setup across the Atlantic, especially from the months of August through till October. Now, what does this mean for us? Well, whether it's an active year or a quiet year, the old saying holds true. It only takes one storm. You look back to Hurricane Igor in 2010, even post-tropical storm Leslie in 2012. One storm can cause significant damage. And of course, last year, a great reminder that even hurricanes that stay well to our south can still have a major impact here. Hurricane Matthew dissipated along the eastern seaboard, but the moisture and remnants of that storm led to significant flooding and damage along the south coast of our island. As a result, and as always, I'll be keeping you posted with the latest on these storms that are brewing in the tropics all season long right here in the CBC Weather Center.
Time once again to celebrate one of our local young athletes. Today, it's Blake Tremblett. Blake is 4 years old. His hometown is Bonavista.
Yes, he plays hockey with the Bonavista Cabots in the Initiation Division. We hope you have a good season on the ice, Blake.
Should also be mentioned, Blake has fantastic taste in hockey teams and jerseys. Looking great there, Blake. Go Leafs go, and congrats on being chosen as today's Young Athlete of the Day.
The I Love the 90s show hit Mile 1 last night, and it turned out to be a bit of a homecoming for one performer.
Yes, Tim Delius Kennedy of the Grammy Award-winning group All for One shocked the crowd. During the set, he said it was so nice to be back in this province because he grew up in Labrador.
Kennedy spent 3 years at the air base in Goose Bay during the 80s. His dad was stationed there in the military.
Yes, we'll be right back after this break.
There he is on the far left, I'm told.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Rigolette will be in the spotlight tonight as part of a documentary on CBC's The National. As millions of Canadians eagerly anticipate the arrival of summer, many people living in Canada's north will be lamenting the end of winter. Melting sea ice means they will be less mobile and less active, and climate change means this is happening earlier and earlier. And that's taking a toll on the mental health of Inuit members of the community of Rigolette in northern Labrador. Tonight, the CBC's Sabrina Fabian takes a look at what it all means. Here's a sneak peek.
This unique way of life is being threatened. For these hunters and trappers, this barren landscape of ice is not only their highway, but their lifeline to their hunting grounds.
There's a whole bunch of seals right here. Yeah. You can see those little black dots on the ice. That's all seals. But this area here is very bad ice. We would actually fall through the ice if we went over there. You can tell by the sound, the thump, the solid ice is still down there.
And the ice is just not what it used to be. It now forms a month later and melts a month earlier.
A month is a lot. Like, you're losing 2 months off of each season that you're prevented from either going trapping. The three of us here are commercial trappers, and we can't get to our trap lines. All three of our trap lines are over on the other side of the bay. So we can't get to our trap lines until the middle of January because the ice is not formed.
The uncertainty gnaws at them. The anxiety is as constant as the melting ice.
It's hard to describe, really.
Like many here, Carl Michelin finds it hard to talk about the changes.
Does it make you sad? Does it make you nervous?
It's different. Trying to adjust to it. Sad thinking about it. It's going to get worse. It's like every winter is getting different.
This one here is a traditional harpoon, a nauluk. We call this one a nauluk. This is homemade, and we just put it on in this manner here. Put it down over the shaft and put a hitch.
When we were growing up and we were young boys, we would be up here on Lake Melville in June, seal hunting. I'm lucky if I get up here the end of April now, so it definitely impacts people. It shortens your season.
Just waiting for the seal to come back, and you're just patiently waiting. And when
you know, it disables you from participating in a traditional way of life, and you know, everybody is different, but it impacts people in different ways.
Republican candidate Greg Gianforte claimed victory in last night's election to fill Montana's lone congressional seat, despite being charged with assaulting a reporter. Gianforte body slammed a journalist because he wasn't happy being questioned. In his acceptance speech, Gianforte apologized for the incident, saying he was not proud of his actions. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. An event at the Rocket Bakery in St. John's on Sunday will raise money for women with cancer who are facing medical treatments that could affect their fertility. It's called Core and Coffee, a core fitness class followed by an educational talk with 2 fertility doctors. Donations will go to Fertile Future, a national charity that provides support for cancer patients and oncology professionals. Dr. Deanna Murphy is one of the specialists taking part.
A lot of patients, when they come to see us, are already quite overwhelmed with the new diagnosis of cancer, and they're quite young. A lot of them are quite young, so wrapping their head around all the treatments that they have to go through can be quite difficult. I think one of the things that we do is offer them a form of hope in terms of, we're planning for their long-term care, thinking years and years out in terms of when they're actually ready to have kids.
Well, it's a Friday, so it's time to find out who's
celebrating.
Have a look, everyone. Anniversary greetings to John and Estelle Davis of Meadows in the Bay of Islands, who will celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow. A happy 91st birthday to Uncle Bert Keats. Happy birthday to Muriel Daw of Lewisport, who was 90 years old on the 24th. Congratulations to Fred and Helen Maynard of Corner Brook, who are celebrating their golden anniversary today. Best wishes to Morley Hines on his 95th birthday this Sunday. He's from Stag Harbor, Fogo Island, now at Riverhead Manor, Fogo. Happy 50th anniversary to Mac and Ada Rideout of Upper Gullies. Happy birthday to Francis Hurley of Badger, who turned 91 years old yesterday. Happy 93rd birthday to Edna Shepherd of Trout River, celebrating this coming Monday. Congratulations to Aubrey and Glenna Squires of St. John's on their 50th anniversary. Happy 68th anniversary to Leander and Hazel Davis, currently in Pollard's Point. Happy 60th anniversary to Adrian and Bernadette Power of Chapel Arm. A big happy birthday to Teresa Roach in St. John's, formerly of Branch, who is celebrating her 100th birthday. Congratulations to Ross and Rowena Osmond of Jackson's Cove, who will celebrate their 51st anniversary tomorrow. Happy birthday to Donald Swires, originally from Botwood, now living in Lewisport, who will be 93 years old tomorrow. Happy 90th birthday tomorrow to Harold Johnston of Gould's. Best wishes to Leslie Warren of Crowhead Twillingate, who turned 95 yesterday. Happy 90th birthday to Ray Hindy of Winterton. Happy 90th birthday as well to Dorothy Hodder of Glenwood, who turns 90 this Sunday, but we're told is celebrating her special day tomorrow. Birthday greetings to Gertie March of Clarenville, who is celebrating her 97th birthday today. Manuel and Lily Barney from Lancelot, Labrador are celebrating their 62nd wedding anniversary today. Happy anniversary to John and Linda Keeping, who celebrated their 52nd on May 24th. Happy 55th anniversary to Joe and Helen Park of Meadows, who will celebrate this coming Sunday. Congratulations to Max and Elsie George of Random Island, who celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary yesterday. Happy 51st anniversary to Michael and Madonna Gallant of Codroy Valley, coming up on Sunday. Congratulations to Reverend John and Muriel Davis, who are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary today. Happy 96th birthday to Orpah Hewlin. She enjoyed her special day yesterday. Ivy and Ray Clark of 80town will celebrate their 56th anniversary tomorrow. Congratulations. Congratulations as well to Yvonne and Gordon Paul of Gambo, who will be celebrating their 65th wedding anniversary on Sunday. Happy 94th birthday tomorrow to George Burden of Blackhead, Conception Bay North, now in Clark's Beach. And happy 91st birthday on May 31st to Hannah Hanrahan of Marystown.
A fine-looking crew once again. Congratulations to everyone there. And look at this picture. proof that, yes, even with the pack ice in, cooler than normal temps, still very beautiful.
Yeah, that is gorgeous. I was there 3 weekends ago, and there was just one a little bit bigger than a Bergie bit. Just look at the difference. Wow. Gorgeous. Thank you, Rick.
Fire and ice.
And have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you back here next week.
Night.
Good night.